Hi everyone, this is the lesson on North Carolina snakes, part of Unit 6, Amphibians and Reptiles. So we've gone over amphibians, we've started reptiles and talked about lizards. We'll do snakes and turtles and alligators next. So I'll go a little bit into their biology and then discuss the variety of North Carolina species that we'd find. Kind of give you a feel for the difference between the venomous and non-venomous ones. So snake biology is very interesting because we have evolved at this point a tetrapod, four-limbed terrestrial animal that has now lost its limbs in favor of this long, smooth anatomy. Because of its anatomy, they are strictly carnivorous. There is no snakes that are going to be herbivorous at all. Of course, there's probably always some exceptions in biology. To fit the organs in this kind of body, they have to stack them instead of having them side by side like they are in your own body. They're stacked on top of each other. Venom has evolved from this modified saliva. They have specialized scales on their bellies used to grip things for movement. They fertilize internally with these kind of leftover limbs. It's kind of like these leftover legs that are used as reproductive insertion. And they have these specialized jaws too that not only can they unhinge their jaws, but they can individually manipulate the way that each side of the jaw moves. So they unhinge it to open it wider, and then they walk their prey into their mouth, like step by step, but lower jaw to lower jaw as it moves it on in. So instead of having hands and shoving it in there, the jaw works to move it into the mouth. The venomous bites can do a number of things. They can paralyze the prey. They can aid in digestion. They can harm the nerve system, or they could harm the cardiovascular blood system of the body. But some of them don't even have that venomous bite, and they rely on the constriction of squeezing their prey. But all snakes, after a large meal, they go through a resting stage where they have to digest all of this food with their specialized bodies. We have quite a diversity of species of snakes in North Carolina. Most of them are non-venomous. So let's talk about those first. We've got a lot of tiny, small snakes like these earth snakes and brown snakes. They love just, tiny little organisms to eat. They like to eat snails and slugs and little critters, and they're just great pals to have in your garden. None of these are going to be venomous. We got some black snakes. When people say black snake, they're typically referring to just, a black snake that they saw. Their more accurate names would be rat snake. That's the most common one that people see. And a more smooth, completely black one that is often very quick in its movements is the racer. There's also two other black snakes, or at least that have black in their color, which is the eastern king snake, who is a great predator of more venomous snakes, and the pine snake, who often loves to burrow underground, and it's hard to get population counts for them because of their habit of digging into the ground. So they are a species of concern. The hognose snake is also becoming endangered. We have one of the best habitats for them, and they have all kinds of really cool, unique behaviors, like they can puff up like they're a venomous snake, like you see this guy on the right. And if that doesn't work, then they will play dead, like the one you see here on the left. He will flip over and pretend like he's dead as best as he can, and even squirt some nasty smelling stuff to make it smell like he's been decaying for a while. There's plenty of water snakes too, many of which are not cottonmouths. And the banded water snakes often look the most like the cottonmouths, and often get killed the most for being confused as cottonmouths. but they love to be in the water. They love to eat fish. They love to eat crayfish, depending on which of the areas that they're in. But our venomous snakes here, most of them are going to be pit vipers. So they have the large fangs with the modified saliva, the big pits used for sensing prey. As mentioned before, the venom serves a variety of purposes, defense as well as digestion. Venom is analyzed on this scale called LD50, meaning how much do you need of this certain material before 50% of the tested population dies, which is an interesting way to test toxicity. But they will vary in LD50 from venom to venom. As mentioned before, some of them will attack the nervous system, some of them will attack the cardiovascular system. Most venomous snakes in North Carolina, being pit vipers, are going to attack the cardiovascular system, meaning it's going to cause blood clots or something of that nature as the main thing that's doing the damage. But it will vary by species, and many of them will have what's called dry bites, meaning they don't use their venom so they can conserve it, and it's more of just a warning. But either way, still safe to just stay away from snakes in general. Cottonmouths are a type of pit viper. They're the ones often found in the water. That's why they're called the water moccasins. It is very unlikely to find them here in the Piedmont. We're in Gaston County, and it is very unlikely that you would find a cottonmouth in Gaston County rivers, lakes, ponds. Typically, they're just going to be in the coastal plain, maybe in the very edge of the Piedmont. Definitely not in the mountains. So location is a great way to identify whether it's a cottonmouth or not if you're not seeing them show their mouth. Obviously, it's very noticeable once they do. Copperheads just have that very unique pattern. Once you kind of get the hang of picking it out, it's super easy to tell if it's a copperhead or not. It looks like almost from the side, it looks like a Hershey Kiss. From the top, it looks like a dumbbell. Other analogies could be made, but it's very, very unique and recognizable. Their offspring of the copperheads, as well as many other pit vipers, do have that yellow tail, so that's something to watch out for as well. They're often mistaken, other species are often mistaken as copperheads and killed. Most snake bites are from copperheads in North Carolina, but there has not been one death from a copperhead. With proper medical care, it is very unlikely that you would have any sort of long-term damage from a snake bite. They have great camouflage too amongst the leaves. We got three types of rattlesnakes. The eastern diamondback has the diamond pattern. The pygmy rattlesnake has this pink line that goes down its back, and the timber rattlesnake has this banded chevron pattern that you would notice. And most of them are in the coastal plain as well. A great way to identify venomous snakes, some people say it's the triangular head, but this is a water snake here. He's not venomous. He's got a very triangular head, so that's not always a good thing to use. Instead, if you're able to, look at the eyes. The eyes will tell you with that, you can see here on the copperhead, a very elliptical, narrow slit, like a cat eye, is a good indication that it's a pit viper. There is one venomous snake in North Carolina that is not a pit viper, and it's the eastern coral snake. And it has a different kind of toxic venom, which is going to attack the nervous system. So it's dangerous in a very different way, and it's probably a lot more deadly. A great way to remember if it's an eastern coral snake is red on black, friend to Jack, or red on yellow, kill a fellow. And that's referring to, is it the eastern coral snake or the scarlet king snake? And scarlet king snakes are great snakes to have around. They eat other snakes. Coral snakes are good to have around too. You know, they're just part of nature like anything else, but they are dangerous, so it is worthwhile knowing which one is which. Again, red on yellow, kill a fellow. Red on black, friend to Jack. So coexisting with snakes, here's a couple tips on that. And remember, just the number one tip for dealing with snakes is don't bother it unless it's in your house and causing you immediate threat, immediate danger. It's best just to leave it be.